I am an art teacher in the interior of my state. My name is Gabriel, and I have been teaching for over 15 years at a municipal school that, though modest, has always been a refuge for children with big dreams. For me, the classroom was never just a place for teaching, but a space where colors, shapes, and strokes came to life, expressing what words could not. That Monday morning, everything seemed the same. The first rays of sunlight illuminated the quiet streets of the village as I pedaled my old bicycle toward the school. The fresh air carried the scent of damp earth, and the colorful houses along the way created a familiar and comforting landscape. However, upon arriving at the school, I noticed something different. The main hallway was eerily silent, and a sense of unease crept up my spine. In the classroom, as the students filed in, my eyes were drawn to Mateus, a reserved boy with a heavy gaze who always sat at the back. He was late and looked more dejected than usual. When he finally arrived, there was something about him that made me pause. His skin was pale, almost sickly, and his eyes. There was something off about them. It wasn't sadness or fatigue, but a deep emptiness, as if something inside him had shattered. "Mateus, are you okay?" I asked, trying to sound casual but genuinely concerned. He only nodded, murmuring a barely audible yes. During class, he remained motionless, staring at the blank sheet of paper in front of him. While the other students painted and chatted, Mateus seemed to be in another world. That's when I noticed. His lips were moving, as if whispering something. As I approached, I heard a phrase repeated softly, almost like an inverted prayer. "He sees me. He calls me. He's here." "What did you say?" I asked, alarmed. Mateus slowly lifted his gaze. His lips stopped moving, but his expression was no longer the same. It was as if someone or something was looking at me through him. "Nothing, Professor," he said in an oddly firm voice. For the rest of the class, I couldn't take my eyes off him. At one point, while collecting the brushes, I heard a metallic sound coming from the back of the room. I looked toward Mateus and saw that he had dropped a small blade on the floor. "What is this?" I asked, trying not to sound alarmed. He didn't answer. He simply walked out of the room when the bell rang, leaving the blade behind. I picked it up and noticed it was engraved with strange symbols I didn't recognize, but they gave me chills. After that class, everything began to change. Mateus became increasingly strange. He spent long minutes staring at the corners of the room, as if he were seeing something no one else could. Other children started complaining that he murmured frightening things during lessons, and some even avoided going near him. One night, while organizing materials in the workshop, I felt a chill. I had the distinct impression I wasn't alone. When I looked toward the door, I saw Mateus standing there in the dark. "What are you doing here at this hour, Mateus?" I asked, my heart racing. He didn't respond. Instead, he began walking slowly toward me. His eyes locked onto mine. His shadow seemed larger than normal, distorted, as if it didn't belong to his body. "He's here, Professor," Mateus whispered as a macabre smile formed on his lips. Before I could react, the lights started flickering, and a cold wind swept through the room, knocking over brushes and easels. When everything stopped, Mateus was gone. Now, I'm writing this in the darkness of my home, with the door locked and all the lights off. I see him everywhere in the shadow of the hallway, in the reflection of the window. And I know it's no longer Mateus. Something controls him, something ancient and evil, and now it has chosen me.